Hoopstrology podcast, a half-hour talk exploring the intersection of basketball and astrology and its role on the court. I'm one of your hosts, Acevedo Jr., and my co-host is the astrology guru, the horoscope intellectual, the one and only Zodiac GM.
Hey, what's up? This is Zodiac GM, and excited for this episode.
Excited for this episode. You like all those words that I threw? I figured you would like that.
Yeah.
Trying to find the different way to describe all your knowledge that you gained. You have, the GM, also PhD almost, right? They should make something of that, right? Like a one dimension education you can actually get, because there's some stars element to it. There's actually some thought behind all this, right? That'd be interesting.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. And it's starting to come out a little bit more. It's a very hard topic, but yeah, I've been getting a lot of messages here and there about some of the posts that's been going on Twitter X. So it's slowly paving its way, and it's definitely a thing of correlation. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. And, we're part of this podcast says we're trying to educate just people, just in general about astrology and their horoscope, and first we started with the signs as far as the cardinal and what are the other ones, fixed and mutual. And now we've been breaking down each sign. So now we last episode we did Cancer. Now we've come to Leo. Ooh. They're from mid-July to mid-August. And right off the bat, I got to tell you, I don't know what it is about Leos, but I feel like Gemini's have an attraction to them and vice versa. Like 3-4 of my good close friends are all Leos. Like I have no idea how that happened. But so Zodiac, talk to us about Leos.
Well, Leo's a fire sign, and like you mentioned, Gemini is an air sign. Air and fire mixes very, very well. So any combination of air and fire is a great mix in chemistry. Leo
Can I
is
say
a
real
fixed
quick?
sign. Sure.
Because you said it's a fire, this is one thing I love and why it makes sense, right? So Gemini is an air sign, right?
Yes.
And like you said, Leo is a fire sign. But in general, air and fire signs are good, right? Let's just put that right. And the way I think about it is the air fans the fire and the fire gets bigger. So I think that's why that's where that happens. But tell us more about Leos.
Oh, you're right. It ignites their flame even more. It makes them more like, they wanna be more lit, and it helps their energy so much. So that's the reason why it meshes very well. So Leo is a fixed sign, and the fixed signs in general are stubborn. They're fixated on their feelings or whatever their energy is focused on, right? So it's a fixed sign. Think of it as a king of the jungle. Some of their traits: they're very loyal, confident, they're very generous, and they are very creative. They're natural leaders, okay? But they also do have a domineering side, and they tend to be egoistic and self-centered in a sense. So they get that sort of perception, but a lot of positive traits. Whenever there's a Leo around, you can just get a sense of just that energy of just, they're very charismatic, so they have a lot of that in them. So think of John Morant, double Leo with the sun and moon. You can just get a sense of his
Leo.
You can just get a sense of his confidence just oozing whenever he's on the court. It's just like, I'm him. So that's the type of energy that you're getting. People around him tend to feed off of that, and they like that. So that's definitely the energy of a Leo.
What are some other Leos that that you can tell us?
All right, so as mentioned, John Morant. We got LaMelo Ball. He's a Leo Virgo with the Virgo moon. We also have players like Anthony Edwards, Kristaps Porzingis is another one, Alperen Sengun, Scotty Barnes, Kyle Kuzma, DeAndre Ayton, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Middleton. So those are some of the Leo energy. Some of their best energies that you link them up with, and they get the best version of them, is that if you link up a Leo with an Aries, Leo with a Gemini, Sagittarius, Libra. Those are some good energies to tag along with the Leo. Energy such as Aquarius, even though they are compatible elements, it is a little bit of a challenge. Same with the same with another Leo, like Leo or Leo Aquarius, that combination. It is sort of a challenge because they're both fixed signs, right? But all the other energies around them, it's an A+, definitely. You get to get a really, really good vibe off of that.
It's interesting you bring up Leo because that's where I want to go next. Is the Leo relationship per se, right? And I think at that point, I think it boils down to the sun, because when I think of two Leos, almost like it's hard for either one to back down in a way, so they almost kind of, it's going like a co-leadership. And the reason I want to bring up Leo connection is because you talked about Alperen Sengun. He's a Leo, right? His head coach, Ime Udoka, is also Leo. And that's our first topic on today's episode is the Houston Rockets and where they are in the standings. And they've kind of come back to where a bit from that start they had. They're at 20-22, sitting in 11th place. So clearly, everybody agrees Alperen Sengun is a star of the Houston Rockets right now. And he's a Leo, and Ime Udoka is a Leo. So how does their relationship work out, and where they're at right now?
Well, the relationship is anywhere from, I would say, like an average B average relationship, because they both have that stubborn type of nature. It's like they're sort of the same individual in a sense. It's all about that self-centeredness. It's all about Leo has to be surrounded around them. The reason why Sengun does very, very well with the Rockets, because the Rockets are featuring him now, which is a good thing, because that's a Leo type of thing that they need. They need that attention. Whenever they have that, you get the best version out of Leo, and that's what Udoka is providing as far as his offensive scheme, right? Or as far as for this game planning. What helps the relationship in a sense is their moon sign, right? So Udoka,
I was just going to bring that up. Udoka
has a natural sense of communicating well with everyone, right? Because of his Gemini moon. Gemini moon is a sign of communication, and they communicate clearly, and that's a big advantage for a coach, and that helps a player like Sengun, because he does have an Aquarius moon, and Aquarius and a Gemini moon, they work very well off of each other as well. So that on a different aspect, on the moon level, they are compatible. But another thing with Udoka, him being a Leo with the Gemini, it's a very, very well balanced energy that can help a lot of players. But that stubborn nature can affect some players that are fixed signs, which is what Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green are. So that's kind of where the issue is with the Rockets team. But that's a whole nother topic.
And that's where I want to head next with the Houston Rockets is Jalen Green. He more often than not seems like the odd one now when he's on the court, especially with the starting lineup, right? And we've seen what Cam Whitmore has done when he's played with some of that starting lineup role, and clearly right now one player fits better than the other.
Right.
Jalen Green is in Aquarius. Cam Whitmore is a Cancer. How does Cam's energy fit better with this team? And we've seen better production from that role, that shooting guard role.
Yeah. Well, without sugarcoating, the way the Rockets team is constructed heavily benefits players like Cam Whitmore, straight up, because there's so much energies that are so compatible to Cam Whitmore. I would say about maybe 70% of the roster is built with earth and water elements, right? You have Jabari, you have Van Vliet, you have Eason, Whitmore, Tate, Green. And I'm talking, these are a lot of players, right? So they're heavily favored on that. The main problem is that two of the players that the Rockets are trying to build around are actually opposite of all of those energies I just mentioned. Those players are Sengun and Jalen Green. Now with Sengun, it's okay because he is a playmaker, right? And him being a Leo, having the game plan featured through him helps him in that aspect. But it doesn't help so much with players like Jalen Green, because you have two fixed signs right there trying to battle each other to try to get their sense of presence in the Rockets roster. Jalen Green is isolated, and I feel bad because he is a very talented player, and he gets sort of, I guess, picked on a lot because he's not having a lot of good games. But as you know, you've played basketball, right? You get a sense with a lot of these energies. Sometimes you play good with certain players, and sometimes you don't. And at times you don't even know why. And believe it or not, the energies do matter, right? Jalen Green is playing with a lot of energies that are opposite of him, right? But when Cam Whitmore plays, he plays with a lot of energies that are compatible to him. You have Van Vliet's compatible to him, Jabari's compatible to Eason, Tate, Jeff Green, Landale. All of these players are surrounding him, so that benefits him, right? So that's where the conflict is with the Houston Rockets team, is that they have a lot of players that are dominant on earth, water, but the two players that they're actually trying to build around is opposite of them. and you have two of them, right? It's okay if you only have one, but you have two. You're trying to fit in Jalen Green, and Jalen Green is sort of the odd man out right now as far as for the synergy goes. So that's
And
kind of
look, I
where
mean,
they
we
are.
see it on the court. Like I mentioned, we see him struggling to make decisions. I think everybody can. It's an agreement. We see skills. He's still an athletic player. It's just the decisions he makes. Maybe he's second guessing himself because he doesn't feel comfortable. Supposed to Cam Whitmore. Now that he's gotten more consistent playing time, we've seen his decision making is a little better. Like he's not afraid to miss. Per se. And the numbers back that up. But look, we'll see. We both said that the Houston Rockets will make the playoffs, the playing tournament at that. Let's make sure. I don't think they're a top 6 seed team right now, but I think they're definitely playing material. A team that I'm sure is hoping to be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference is the Indiana Pacers. That's where we go next for our next topics, and specifically the trade they made. They acquire All-Star forward Pascal Siakam. I just love saying his name, Siakam. In a trade that says Siakam. If I was Pascal Siakam, every time I hit a 3-pointer, I'd be Siakam in your face.
Yeah.
Siakam in your face. Anyway, so the Pacers have acquired Pascal Siakam in a trade that says Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and 3 first-round picks to the Raptors. First of all, the Raptors did well. 3 first-round picks? Bruce Brown? Which I'm hearing Bruce Brown could be moved. So, Bruce Brown, don't unpack your bags, bro. Don't unpack them. Don't unpack them just yet. But you'll be going to a contender, hopefully. But 3 first-round picks. And look, first of all, I love this for the Pacers. I love this for the Pacers. They got Siakam, knowing that he's a free agent after this season. But from what my understanding is, he's going to sign. He's going to re-sign. I'm not sure if they're already talking deal, but everything I've kind of, I think that's why the Pacers made that deal. That's why they give up those 3 first-round picks. And look, the Pacers are building something solid. It's a young team. So right off the bat, tell me, how does Siakam fit with the Indiana Pacers? And specifically Tyrese Haliburton.
You're right. Well, the Pacers are more of a balanced team, more so than what the Rockets have, right? It's sort of like a combination of trying to fit in these pieces, but positional, and also what how much influence they are within the team construction, right? So right off the bat, Haliburton and Siakam are opposite elements. That's let me just put that out there, okay? So Haliburton's a Pisces, he's a water sign, and you have Siakam, who's an Aries, who's a fire sign. Fire and air generally don't mesh well together, so they're not they're not going to have like the best synergy, but of course they are talented, right? But what benefits Siakam in this team in particular is that he does have a lot of energies that are compatible to him, right? And as you know, within a team game, it's not just 5 players that's going to play the whole game. You also have the bench, and also how Rick Carlisle utilizes his rotation, right? So what benefits Siakam is that he has Turner, who's compatible. He's compatible with Mathurin, Hield, TJ McConnell, Naismith, Thais. No, I'm sorry, not these. That are compatible, and those are rotational players that play a lot of minutes off the bench as well. So they can find combinations where they can use 4-4-1 lineups that can benefit Siakam, and still Haliburton's be like the main point guard that can distribute his assists and all that. So synergy wise, I didn't see any improvement because Bruce Brown sort of gives that same energy as what Siakam would bring. So, they're sort of like equivalent. It's not like a big drastic jump in synergy. Talent, yeah, Siakam's a little bit talent, but overall, it's not going to be like a big jump, right? Now, if it was a player that was compatible with Haliburton, that's of a star level as Siakam, then it will get that little bump up in synergy. But right now, it's still the same, which are still a good team. So, they're still probably going to make the playoffs and move forward from there. But synergy wise, it's neutral.
Neutral. Okay. So it'll be like a 4-1-3-2. What are we talking about?
Yeah, the starting lineup. I was looking at starting lineup last couple of days. They've been using the 3-2 lineups. They have Turner, Siakam, and then Haliburton, and I can't remember the other guy that they use. They use
Nesmith. No, not Nesmith.
Yeah, but it's either a 3-2 or sometimes they do use a 4-1 if they start McConnell or even Naismith
Okay.
because he is compatible. Or if they use the guard lineup of Mathurin and Heald together along with Halliburton and Siakam and Turner. So that's a 4-1 starting unit right there, right off the bat. Um, so yeah.
And just to recap for our faithful listeners, when we talk about 4-1, 3-2, or 2-3,
Okay.
or I guess 3-2 is how the 5 players on the court, how they match, right? So 4-1 will be 4
Yeah.
players are compatible and 1 isn't, right? So ideally you want a
Yeah.
4-1, but a good 3-2 can a good balanced 3-2 can also work, right?
Yeah, so the league average is about 3-2. So you have meaning that 3 are compatible to energies, and then the other 2 are compatible to certain energies, but also how they're balanced and based on their qualities, right? Like the fix, or fixed cardinal, or fixed mutable, any combination of that also matters too as well, right? But usually there's not that many teams out there. But if you have a team that's a 5-0, meaning all 5 are compatible, like the Denver Nuggets, and look where they're at. I mean, hint, hint. So if you do have a lineup like that, and then I mentioned starters a lot because they're the one that obviously plays the majority of the minutes throughout the game. So you're looking at the macro, right? The bigger picture, and they tend to do a little bit better overall, right? So especially if you have a coach compatible with the starting 5, like the Denver Nuggets, hint, hint. So that's another reason why those energies work so well together, and you can just get a sense of that chemistry just clicking. But average is
So you
about a
say
3-2 throughout the
so
league.
average is 3-2, but the Denver Nuggets are 5-0.
Yeah, they have a
They're
cuss sign, and
5-0
they have a
team.
cuss sign in KCP. Jamal Murray, he's a Pisces, along with Jokic is obviously a Pisces, and then Gordon is a Virgo, and then you have Porter Jr., who's a Cancer. So Earth and Water dominant, and then their coach is a Virgo. I mean, you can't beat that, right? And then a couple seasons ago, when the Bucks won the championship, their whole roster was nothing but fire signs. Talk about
Was it 4-1?
Boone. It was either 4-1 or even a 5-0, depending on if they had, because I know they had PJ Tucker that championship season, right? Tucker was the only odd man
Torres.
out, but it
Yeah.
still worked. Yeah, it
Right.
still worked because Giannis, Middleton, Brook, and notice how they kind of excelled. There was at one point where where Giannis was sort of like, I don't want to be with the Bucks, but then the Bucks started implementing all these energies that fit
Yeah.
and Giannis, and boom, So yeah, that's what we mean by 3-2. 3-2 is about average, but 4-1 is good. Like when you
Yeah.
have 4 compatible energies on the floor is good. 5-0, that's really good.
Well, the Bucks and the Nuggets, they have something in common too. They have both recent MVP winners, and that's where we're going with our next topic. It's a current MVP race. Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, I should say, involves Nikola Jokic and Joel Embid once again for the 3rd straight year. We're having a debate. I don't want to say it's a 2-man race, because I know you used to got Giannis. He's of course still making noise, but look. Let's just put it out there. Joel Embiid put a stamp down tonight. We're recording this Monday night. 70 points. 70 points tonight.
He let Wemby know what's up.
Wemby maybe this was his welcome to the NBA moment, because this was just a beatdown, and you were telling me before we hit record that Joel Embiid is a Pisces, and what was Coach Pop saying? He said we're gonna hammer him, and then what else did he say about something about fouls? What were you telling me, Zodiac?
Yeah, he was pretty much telling them, "Oh, we're gonna foul him," and So if you tell that, or anything that's kind of like challenging a player, especially a Pisces, who's a very sensitive / emotional sign, they're gonna take that to heart. And Pisces are one of the most ambitious sign, so when they have something that triggers them that way, expect something really, really out there for a Pisces, and that's what Embiid is, and then other Pisces like Curry, Jokic, Doncic. I can keep on going with a lot of these Pisces. Pisces have that great ambition of going to the next level of where others will ask them like, man, you're way too ambitious, unrealistic. But to them, they see that as a goal of like, hey, anything is possible, So that's the type of energy. The Pisces. Pisces is actually one of the strongest signs, them being a 12th sign of the Zodiac. But they're sort of kind of like what do you call it? They're sort of like hidden in that Pisces. They're just a fish sign. No, they're the one of the strongest Zodiac signs out there, because they can sense the energies of all the other signs in the Zodiac, them being the 12 signs. So So that's a very, very strong energy right there.
And look, maybe Joel is leading. I mean, this was he also recently went for 41-10 against Joel Embiid, who he's possibly battling for to nab it, the other MVP. But here's an interesting note. I forgot. I don't know if you remember, Zodiac, but the NBA implemented some changes in the offseason to combat load management, right? Where now a player has to play in at least 65 games to be considered for the awards.
You're right.
Embiid has already missed 11 of 42 games. Can you imagine putting like great? Say you play in 63 of the games, right? You're missing one, and it's an unfortunate situation, But I know Embiid, he has been he picks up injuries, not long injuries at months, but weeks here, week there, days here, days there. Compared to Nikola Jokic, right? He seems very serving stature, very solid, very I don't think the last time I've seen him be out for an extended period of time. So I do wonder what role that will play. Because look, Jokic might just get what? This will be his third or fourth? Fourth. This will be his fourth. His fourth. And like you said, everything on his team is geared towards him and the whole team. So it's not like he's gonna stop getting stats.
You're right. One thing, and this is an analysis I've done sometime last year, but of course, the past 7 seasons, whoever the MVP was for that particular season, if you look at their roster, that roster was compatible to that one player, right? And this is dating back from OKC when Russell Westbrook won the MVP. You look at the roster, man, that team was built for Russell Westbrook, right? Harden days, the Kurt, who else won that? Giannis had one couple, and then Jokic, and then Embiid, right? If you look at the teams for each of those MVPs, they were geared energy-wise towards their best player. What I mean by that is that brings the best out of their best player, right? Right now, remember last year when they had Harden, they had Tobias Harris, and with the roster with the Philadelphia 76ers, they were very compatible. That was one of the most compatible teams that had a 5-0 lineup, right?
Ooh.
And look, Embiid won. The year before that, Jokic had a 5-0 lineup. Jokic won, and then the year before that, Jokic again. And then you see what I'm saying? So this year, I'm still aiming towards Jokic. That's just my opinion, because the team is still the same. They still have the very, very good synergy. Now, with the trade of Harden going away from the Philadelphia 76ers, and then what they got in return are actually opposite energies of Embiid. Like Batum is a Sagittarius, Covington is a Sagittarius, opposite of Embiid, right? But it's okay because Embiid still has Maxey, who's he's very compatible with, Tobias Harris, who's a Cancer, who's he's very compatible with. So he still has enough energies there to be a formidable player. So I see Jokic for 1, Embiid 2, and maybe even Giannis is up there. So I would put Giannis maybe 2, him and 2A and 2B between him and Embiid.
Look, NBA.com has Joel Embiid at first, Nikola Jokic as 2. And here's one that I feel we disrespected, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He is something else. The OKC Thunder were my pick that they're gonna surprise some people. Not surprised. I think a lot of people saw it coming, but I think they're even surpassing what we saw that were coming. They're surpassing my expectations. They are something else. We'll have to talk about them next. But yeah, so he's up there. And then of course 5, they got Luka at 5. So they got 5 Luka, Giannis 4, Shai 3, Nikola 2, and Joel 1. And I think I'm kind of leaning. I think if they continue playing how they're playing and the stats, everything, he keeps, like he's always does. I think Nikola's gonna have his 4th MVP, and I'd put him in elite category.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. So.
And I just want to admire this era of big man that we've been living in. For such a long time, it became a guard and kind of slasher league, which is always fun, good too. But it's just good to kind of have a variety. So I'm glad that we definitely have that. Who hasn't had a lot of variety in 16 years is the Miami Heat at the head coach position when Erik Spoelstra, he signed a record-breaking deal record-breaking deal. When I saw this, I was like, that is well deserved. Erik Spoelstra signed an 8-year, $120 million contract extension with the Miami Heat. And I know this happened a couple of weeks ago, but I just want to talk about it because I respect the Miami Heat, everything they are as an organization. You know, I think there's really something to that Heat culture. You know, and look, Spoelstra is in his 16th season as head coach, as I said. His 29th season overall with the franchise. He's 29. I'm 40.
Wow.
So he spent he's you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. This person spent 29 one franchise. God. And the contract is not just the highest committed to an NBA coach, but any coach in any North American sport. Like that is confidence. That is confidence. But one thing I gotta say before we get more into his horoscope and everything is so he divorced, right? He recently divorced his wife.
Oh, okay.
The Miami Heat waited till the divorce proceedings were finalized and every paper has been signed to make the deal. So that way he didn't have to give that money to.
What? I had no clue about that. That is amazing.
Yeah, apparently that came out after the contract that went down, and people were like, "That is masterful, man."
Wow.
And she even came out and responded. Yeah, the ex-wife came out and responded.
Oh my God!
Because people were saying that she dropped the bag, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm my own woman."
Yeah.
Hey, which right by her, but yeah, but that was a pretty interesting, you know. But now let's get back to what matters at hand. Erik Spoelstra signed, and you know what's made him such a good coach, you know. And let's remember, he started as a video coordinator with this organization. Right. So talk us through his sign and what makes him the coach that he is
Okay, so Spoelstra is the Scorpio sun with the Sagittarius moon. Okay, so let me explain something about Scorpios, right? Back to fixed sign. So no, I'm talking about his quality, right? So he has a quality of a fixed sign. Fixed sign likes steady. The thing with fixed signs, they hold the ground of stabilizing an organization, right? They want consistency and they don't want that much change to break out of their routine, right? So you have a very, very strong culture stemming from an energy such as Erik Spoelstra, with him being a Scorpio, right? If you get a sense in sports in general, you have the, from Dallas, who's their head coach from Dallas, Cowboys?
Jason Kidd.
No, Jason sorry, Kidd. I'm thinking about football, right? Football.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy. He's a Scorpio, right? So he kind of sets that foundation. And another thing is they have a knack of, I don't want to say manipulation, but they have a knack of manipulating what they want into an organization. I'm not saying he's manipulating whoever is giving him the checks or anything, but they're just so good at that. That's one of their special traits, right? But the key thing here that a lot of people are missing is the relationship he has with Pat Riley. Pat Riley's a Pisces.
I was going to talk about that.
Pisces and Scorpio are like one of the best strong energy synergy that you can have, and that relationship alone is what makes the Miami Heat what they are, because the Pisces, very an emotional sign, so is a Scorpio, very emotionally passionate sign. You combine them together, you build that culture, and it stays. That foundation is so strong that they built something there. That's the reason why they call it heat culture. Or, that's what you're getting from a coach like Erik Spoelstra, his energy, the no nonsense, the very passionate, and you get a sense of that, the consistency, right? And you're getting all of that from Erik Spoelstra, and well-deserved, very well-deserved.
Do you think, I don't know if you have this off the back of your mind, but is there a certain kind of horoscope sign or that fits better in heat culture that they kind of seek out, because they always find a lot of great undrafted gems, right? That's something that they're known for. Their undrafted gems sign huge contracts, right? Is there, do you feel like there's a specific kind they like, or 'cause like I say, Erik Spoelstra is a
Well,
Scorpio, right? See, fixed
he
sign.
is a
Okay.
Scorpio. Now, during his tenure, the one big advantage that sticks out is the main guys that they feature as their go-to guys throughout their history with Spoelstra was there has been compatible to Erik Spoelstra. You have
Mm.
Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler. These are all players extremely compatible to Erik Spoelstra. So that foundation alone is very, very strong because you have a strong foundation where you can feed off of. Right now, currently, Butler's compatible with Spoelstra, Adebayo's compatible with Spoelstra, and those are your two stars. Those are your two featured players, and from there you can just feed off of them. And with Erik Spoelstra having a Sagittarius moon, who's a mutable sign, they're very adaptable and they're very positive in that sense. Helps all of the other energies, even if it's opposite of Butler, helps all of those other energies work well together. So they do have players like Jaquez, who is a Gemini, fellow Gemini.
Yes, no
I
wonder I
mean,
like them.
Tricks of all trade. I mean, they
Oh
have
my
players like
God.
Lowry, who's an Aries, Heroes, and Aquarius. Those are all energies that work well amongst that small group, but they have enough players that can make within their rotation that they can utilize to benefit that. So, have you ever get a sense? Miami Heat hasn't been that elite team, that number one team, that dominant team, because their synergy is a little bit average because of what I just mentioned. They don't have a full capacity of energies compatible to Butler and Adebayo, but they have their two main guys that are very compatible, but they have a secondary group that are compatible amongst themselves, which is enough. And they're usually, have you noticed they're usually around that mid team, whenever they enter the playoffs, and then they tend to end up just take off once they reach the playoffs, right? So that's kind of what you're getting. They're sort of like a wild card because they are a scary team. They don't have the best synergy overall, but they do have a strong foundation from the coach and their top two players. So that's kind of where their strength is.
There you go. That is Erik Spoelstra and a little talk about the Miami Heat culture. And look, we've learned to never count them out, right? If they get into the playoffs, never count them out for anything. So that's what the Miami Heat have done, and that's also our 11th episode for the Hoopstrology podcast. Zodiac GM, any last words before we sign off?
Zodiac, the Zodiac GM. Follow me on the Zodiac GM at Twitter X and also Hoopstrology.
Follow Jesus _Acevedo Jr. and follow us on the Bayou Stadium. And come on back next week. And thank you so much for listening. And see ya.